Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Mainstream Monday here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my awesome co-host. How are you doing, John Ward?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Are you awesome?
I'm doing awesome. Yes, I am.
Well, you should be doing awesome. You have three hot chicks behind you.
I do, and we're gonna talk about that because it's yeah, that was my one of my favorite parts of the movie, but one of them, but
Dracula's brides.
yeah, the Dracula's Brides. So we're gonna be talking about Dracula 2000. Woohoo!
Woo.
So this is a movie I saw years ago when it first came out on DVD, and I don't really even remember finishing it. Um, it wasn't because I think I just wasn't all into it. You know, it didn't feel like nowadays when I look at it, it feels like a Wes Craven produced at that time kind of movie or whatever, but it didn't feel like it when I watched it. And I don't know, maybe I was expecting more Scream like, or something. I don't know, but now that I'm watching it, it kind of does feel very Scream like and very updated to the Dracula story. So when did you first watch it?
I saw it in the theater when it originally came out.
Oh, what did you think of
Yeah.
it?
I thought it was okay when I first saw it. And then I watched it probably again, maybe when it came out on like Laserdisc or something like that. I know I've seen it a few times.
Awesome.
But this time, like all the other ones, because I'm now actually watching it to talk about, I have three issues with it,
Okay.
and should I say those issues now?
Let's get into the story, then we can break into issues and
Okay,
stuff.
all right.
So I sent you a little thing about kind of how, like, I guess Harvey Weinstein bought this movie based on the title alone. The script was, as he said, the script stinks, but you saw that, right? I sent you that thing.
Yes.
And it was apparently Scott Derrickson was asked to do a sort of a rewrite ish for it, and to take a stab, at writing the rewrite or whatever. And then they discarded his, and they gave it to Ewan Kruger, who was the writer of Scream 3. And I can sort of see it. I see a couple like things that just feel Ewan Kruger-y, from at that time and stage in his career. you know. Um, I after rewatching Scream 3, remember I used to hate that movie with a passion. After rewatching, I actually kind of liked it, enough, like a lot better, enough where I might actually buy it on Blu-ray at some point, because for the longest time I didn't want to buy it on Blu-ray. I might actually want to get this movie on Blu-ray someday. You know, I have it
I
on
do have
DVD.
it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you have it on it's on a 3-pack, right? Or 4-pack.
4-pack. It's on the that Echo Bridge Blu-ray with it's Dracula 2, Dracula 3, and then Wes Craven presents They.
I wonder if they have a Blu-ray that has like special features or something, because I would like to know like more. I feel like this movie didn't get enough love, or whatever.
Well, it bombed
Yeah.
in the
So
box office. It didn't even make back its budget.
so I'm wondering why they even did a sequel, when we're going to be talking about the sequels too. Like, I
I would
guess
probably video sales. I bet Dracula 2000 did great on video.
so. They're like, let's just make 2 more on
To
video.
direct to video sequels. Yeah, back to
Okay.
back stuff.
Direct to video does really well sometimes, for
Because if
people.
you look at the end credits of Dracula 2000, there's images, like there's drawings, like there's cartoon drawings. There's one of a wolf, and then it's got like a man's head kind of circling it
Hmm.
and yelling. So I wonder if those credits meant anything to a sequel if this did well. Like, oh, we'll make a sequel to Dracula 2000, and we'll include now a werewolf. because there were other like mythical creatures in the credits.
I don't know, because we do see a wolf and you see bats. You see him turn into a wolf and a bat.
Well,
in the
he's
movie.
okay. Maybe that's it then. I kind
I
of took
don't
it as a
know.
werewolf. Maybe that was supposed to be him
I took
changing.
it as I took it as him changing, but maybe
Okay,
maybe
that could work. Okay, all right. That
it would
might
have
be
been
it.
cool though. I don't know if, because I haven't seen Dracula 2 or Dracula 3, so I have no idea if werewolves or other creatures, or if it's just Dracula again.
I think it's just Dracula.
Yeah,
I think. I'm pretty. I know in part 2, which is my favorite of the 3. I don't think there's werewolves. I don't remember it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
I know a lot of people hate 2 and 3. Like they just hate it.
I didn't like 3 because it's a comedy, like a flat out comedy.
Okay.
So maybe in this viewing, I might enjoy it more. Part 2 is weird because it's like Bride of the second Dracula. Yeah, Brides of Dracula. It's like the second Hammer one where it's a blonde Dracula. And that's what I liked about it.
Okay, so they switched up the lore a little bit.
Yeah. It may not even be Dracula. It could just be a descendant of Dracula. In the second one.
Well, we'll get into that later. But so can you sort of sum up the story?
It begins way back when, and where they there's a ship and it's in the storm, and it everybody's dead, and it ends up going on to the shore of England, and this guy is there, and he is Dracula, who I didn't realize was Gerald Butler until this viewing.
Gerard Butler, I think.
Gerard Butler,
yeah.
Thank you. And he's there, but then it kind of just goes to the future, like present day.
Yeah.
And it's like the 1800s or something, and then it kind of starts off with the whole thing of like in the book of Dracula, where he's on the ship, and then he's brought to, and everybody dies on the ship, and then it's modern day, and it's what is it, like Van Helsing's? Well, it's supposed. I guess we're supposed to believe that it's supposed to be like his grandfather.
No,
but it's actually him.
Yeah, you're supposed to believe it's his like grandfather or not grandfather, grandson or whatever. Like it's
like the great something like
it's
that.
It's the descendant of or whatever.
Yeah. And that's Christopher Plummer, who's a great choice. That is a great choice to play.
Wasn't he a Hammer guy? Didn't he do Hammer, if I'm correct?
No, I don't think he did any Hammer.
Okay. Okay, he should have.
He should have. Yeah. And he has a museum, and some of his workers, along with some thieves, decide to break into a vault because they feel that there's gold there.
Mm-hmm.
And what is actually there being protected from humanity is Dracula's coffin, but they're unaware of this. And they take the coffin, and of course the coffin opens, and that's where he starts to get his brides. He gets his first one, and
played by Jennifer Esposito.
Yes,
who you might know from a little movie called "I Still Know What You Did Last Summer" that we already reviewed.
So that's one of our connections. The second one is Omar Epps, who plays like her boyfriend in it.
Yeah.
So that's our Scream 2 connection.
That's true. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah. I thought that's who, if you remember on the last video, you said, oh yeah, no, just by looking at the box. And I thought that's who you were referring to was Omar Epps.
Oh wait. Let me see the thing, because I said I might have meant Jennifer Esposito if she was on the box, but I don't remember who was on the box. Who's on the box? Who's on the box?
Who's on the box?
All right. Yeah, I think I meant Jennifer. No, I think I did mean Omar Epps. Too. Okay. Yeah, because Omar Epps is because he was in he was in Scream 2. So I might have saw that and said, oh yeah, holy crap, there's already a connection. Yeah, that's what I said. There's already a connection
Yeah.
to Scream 2. So yeah. So there's Omar Epps, there's Jennifer Esposito.
Yeah, and
So
they play the bad guys. She works for Christopher Plummer but betrays him. She's dating Omar Epps. They take the coffin. They're in a plane. Dracula pops up. He kills and bites people, and the plane crashes. And they're in New Orleans. And of course, there's the big New Orleans thing going on. And I've never understood this stuff, but Dracula seems to know what everything is. Like he's not like at all like, hey, shit, that's a car, what's that, or something, or that's a computer, what's that, he kind of just seems to accept things like all time travelers do for some bizarre reason.
yeah, that's kind of true. Like I never thought about that. He's never confounded by anything he saw. He just
I think if I went 100 years in the future, there might be some different things that I'd be amazed at.
like he's not like, oh my god, I'm in a big plane like this. Like, what is this?
Yeah,
Like,
what is this thing flying?
Because when was the plane invented? When did the Wright brothers fly for the first time? It was before Dracula died, right?
Well, yeah, because Dracula, yeah. I don't. We'd have to look up the exact date, but
actually, there is something that really pissed me off. So that's supposed to be Abraham Van Helsing, right? Like that's supposed to be the original Abraham, right? He's been injecting himself with this blood, Dracula's blood, so he could stay alive for as long as he can to possibly, protect the world from
the leeches that are on Dracula.
So he's using that to like protect him, to keep himself old, or I mean young, and or not young, I mean he's already old, I guess, from whatever. But so anyway, he ends up my big question about that is like, so how long has he been doing this, and why hasn't anybody ever noticed that this man is in his 70s or so for hundreds of years, like he because Dracula's been dead since like the 1800s at least, right? 17, whatever it was that
they trapped him, and then they all those guys trapped him like in that box thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of took it as that he does age, but just very slowly.
I don't think so.
He looks different in the prequel stuff than he does present day. He doesn't look exactly the same.
Right. Shit. So
now where the leeches, I don't know how he came up with that idea. We'll get Dracula in his coffin, and then I guess, well, no, he has the blood of Dracula in him. Because remember, the one guy takes the spear through Dracula in the trap, and it has Dracula's blood, and it pierces into Van Helsing. When he has the daughter has Dracula's blood. Right.
Which that all that shit just went right over my head for the longest time. I'm like thinking, like I'm watching it going, why is he going after her? And then I'm like, wait, so they're, that's like they're like related or something now or whatever, and then like bloodline, and then I'm like, why does he want to make out with her then? It's like making out with that's like incest. Ugh. There's just a little bit too much weirdness to this movie. But they were trying to make it make sense. And my thing is, obviously you wouldn't want to do this, but the best way to have killed Dracula, here's my way: bring him out in the middle of the desert. His coffin out to the middle of the desert, open it up, and just burn him up from the very beginning. Like,
well, yeah, why keep him?
Yeah, why keep him? That goes to like, we were talking about this yesterday on an episode of what was it? Blue Cheese. But like we're watching Wolfsbane, which is done by Griff First, and they have to have like these amulets, you know, and then they but if they can collect all the amulets, then it sets somebody free and all this other stuff. And Paul's just like, why don't they just destroy one of the 6 amulets, you know? Because then if you can't do all 6 of them, if you need all 6 to complete this thing, you know, if you destroy one of them, then you don't need, you know, like it's
For some reason, people think that they have to protect crap, like in Wonder Woman. You know, they have to, or I think maybe it was Justice League, where they had to protect the boxes.
mm-hmm.
Why not just destroy the boxes?
Right. The boxes are what's going to end the world, you know, or whatever, you know, or the amulets are what are going to, Dracula's what's going to end the world, you know, like it's that catastrophic thing. Bring it up to the desert, open it up and say, peace, you're done. But nobody thinks about doing that because movie wouldn't exist if, you know, we just killed off our main character in the beginning. You know what? That would be a great movie.
I mean, I guess somebody would always bring him back. You know, remember the Hammer movies? Van Helsing constantly thinks that he, you know, or others think that they kill Dracula and he turns into dust, and then some a-hole comes around and collects that dust and puts some blood on it, and you got Dracula again.
I think Van Helsing even said that here in this movie, is that like he keeps coming back, you know, and everything, and he's been here to just try to protect and make sure he doesn't come, you know, that if he comes back, he's gonna be whatever. But so we have, okay, by the way, we have the best cast in this movie. My favorite cast of all our movies, you know. These are people that I've loved from different movies, and they're all together in one movie. And it just made my heart like, okay, so you got Omar Epps, you know, you got, now I don't like Danny Masterson, but a lot of people used to like him. Now he's sort of like, don't touch him. Don't get near him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's fine in the movie. I mean, that was 2000, I think, when it came out. So yeah, I mean, that was
when he was just doing things without people knowing he was doing things. You know,
I guess so.
You know, so yeah, he was okay. I liked him in it.
Allegedly, you don't want to, you know, you always have to say allegedly.
I guess I don't know. I don't know all the facts of everything.
I don't know all the facts on him either. So, yeah, but it should be investigated. So we should say allegedly.
Allegedly. So. Okay. Yeah. So then you've got what's his name? Sean Scott or something. Sean Patrick Scott, I think is his name. And he was really, really good in he was in Can't Hardly Wait as one of the jocks, you know, in that. But he was also in what is it? Cruel Intentions as the African American guy who like is in love with Selma Blair, because like who's not in love with Selma Blair?
Oh, the guy who's not Omar Epps.
Yeah,
that's what you're referring to. Okay, yeah, I don't know him at all. Okay,
yeah, he was in Cruel Intentions and he was great. I always remember him from that. They kind of, this sounds terrible, but they I kind of kept getting them confused, you know, a little bit. You know, that's terrible to say. I don't know. Maybe I should cut that out, but it's like I kept getting them confused, like because except I know that Omar Epps was the one who kept yelling at everybody. You know, he was the boss. He was the, you know, whatever. But I don't know.
I find that weird. I did not confuse them at all.
Oops. Oh well.
Did you get the women behind you confused too?
At one point actually I did. They're all wearing white and but I don't know. I like at one point I did, I think. At one point I was like, wait, is that Lucy or is that fucking
well, vitamin C is Lucy.
Yes. And then I was like, or is
and
that
I give her
Jerry Ryan, you know.
7 of 9.
What's 7 of 9? What does that mean?
Star Trek. Star Trek Voyager. She was 7 of 9 on Star Trek Voyager, and sadly she's now 7 of 9 on Picard.
Oh, so she's back. Okay.
Yeah, I hate that show, but okay,
I don't know. Paul's been
garbage.
watching it, or Paul bought it. I don't know. I don't. I haven't watched. I don't like
I
Star
made it
Trek.
through 2 episodes and turned it off, and I just said nope, I'm not into this. So,
Well, there you go. Um,
but
and
yeah,
then
and then Jennifer Esposito, of course.
Jennifer Esposito, who, like I said, like somebody on Still I Know What You Did Last Summer, they wrote a girl like Jennifer Esposito, and they just got it. Jennifer, it's just like hearing like you know, uh, what's his name? Kevin Smith wrote a Stan Lee type figure, right? And they're like, why don't you just get Stan Lee? I'm like,
Oh, is that what they wrote about Jennifer Esposito?
yeah, they're like, because they said a Jennifer Esposito type character or something, and then they ended up getting Jennifer Esposito. Like, why not? If you're gonna
Oh,
make
okay.
it be that specific, fuck it, might as well. I'm gonna write that, let Jennifer Esposito type character in my next movie, and hopefully, fingers crossed.
Maybe she'll magically pop up. So,
Maybe that's the
I
thing. I
I
don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I'll take vitamin C. So,
Vitamin C. And she was nude in this movie. Holy cow.
yes,
I did
but
not expect that.
that is one of my 3 issues actually.
That's not her body.
No, there should have been more.
Um, it should have
Or
been more graphic or something.
it's I appreciate her nudity. She's got a great body. She's beautiful. Have no idea. I looked her up. I had no idea that she was in the music biz or any of that. And this is like her first film or something.
No, it wasn't her
Um,
first film. She was in Liar Liar, and she was in a ton of other stuff.
oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I read, was that this was like her first thing. But
This might be her breakout role, but this was not her first role.
oh, maybe. But no, it's so I'll just say my 3 things. One, the film should have been more violent.
Yeah.
I felt that it was like the WB or
It
the
was like more
OC
PG-13.
or
That's might have,
something. Yeah, it just felt very sanitized to
and
me.
that might be a reason why I liked it, because it's rated R and it's got that Scream PG-13 vibe going for it, where they're just trying to be safe. And remember, this
I
is
don't want
2000.
save. Yeah, but I
Remember,
don't
this
want
is
save.
2000. Remember, like they had problems with Columbine. They wanted everything at that time to be like,
That is
safe.
not my problem. That is not my problem. We they said it for Scream 3. We know it for Scream 3, but we don't know it for this. And to me, it should have been, unless that means CG violence, then okay, keep it the way it is. But I thought that it should have been more violent for what it was, for the type of film that it was. It just felt very TV like to me. And also, I think that I appreciate the nudity, because I was really hoping, I'm like, oh my God, are we going to see her naked? And we
Because
did.
she almost takes her shirt off at one point, and I was like, whoa, like I thought we were about to see something, and then fucking Dracula had a cock block all of us,
Yeah, thanks, Drac.
showing up.
But I think as sexy as they were, like these vampire vixens, I don't know, I would have made them more Hammer sexy. I would have, if they don't want to do any more nudity, maybe make them more Hammer sexy. Because this is Dracula 2000. Teenagers are watching this friggin' thing, so give them something. And then so that's basically like the 3 things, is that I felt that it was very sanitized. I wish it was more violence, and I wish that there was more nudity or just more sexiness, more Hammer like. So
the sexiness I can understand, because I mean, this is Dracula 2000. This is supposed to be sort of, more like that. I'm actually surprised. I mean, this is produced by Weinstein's, like I would have imagined that they would have said more nudity, more, whatever,
Well, and especially with Wes Craven Presents, you would think that maybe it'd be a little more violent, that there might be a little more going on in it.
I think he just gave his blessing for it, because gave his name on it, because it's directed by the editor of the Scream movies. It's done, the music is done by the Scream guy Marco Beltrami, who I thought was fucking phenomenal. This score was probably one of my favorite scores, actually. you know. And then I'm sorry, man. I'm like the 2000s, they're and the late 90s is like my life, that was like my high school and whatnot, and older, and then getting older stuff. So like 2000, I was 18 then, right? So like music like Linkin Park's One Step Closer to the Edge playing at the end fucking got me. Like
I laughed at that. I'm
I
just
just
like,
loved it.
wow, what a generic song to play at the end of this. It's not even interesting.
Oh,
You know,
I loved it. One step
that
closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. I
I
love that
mean,
song.
it's I remember, and I disagree with this, but I remember when Fast Times at Ridgemont High came out, and I was there opening night. I was young. We're talking, like early 80s. And the Go-Go's, We Got the Beat comes on, and the entire audience booed. It was hilarious because we heard the song like 10,000 times.
Oh, so
And
like most popular song at that time or something?
yeah, like one of them was always on rotation on MTV and stuff like that. And I just remember everybody booing it. So when Linkin Park came on during the credits, I'm like, are you kidding? This is like hysterical. And then I was looking at like who's on the soundtrack, and I'm just like, wow, this is so a product of that time. Now
Yeah.
the instrumental stuff, the score was good.
Right.
That I will say that I did like. But the music in it, I thought was, even though it's done by big bands, I thought that was very, why didn't they just get Green Day on there or something?
They probably tried, you know. But or you know, well, Green Day had like remember that movie Angus? That had Green Day in it.
I
But
never
that
saw
was
it, but I know of it. Yeah, the football movie, I think.
no. What's the football?
Is
It
it
might
Angus
be
football, or
football.
or am I thinking? I thought it
You're
was
thinking of
football.
Rudy.
I know Rudy, but I thought Angus was also sports related, but maybe not. I never saw it. So
Was it? It might be. I know the kid wanted to be like. He started hanging out with the
did he want to be
cheerleader.
Angus Young? Is that why it's called Angus? He's just like, I'm a huge ACDC fan. I want to be Angus Young.
No,
Oh,
no, he was just
he
some.
really wanted to. He wanted his highway to hell.
Sadly, he was just a big kid who got named Angus, which is about as a cow, So like poor kid,
Nice.
you know.
But I do want to say with this though, it is I did enjoy it. I do like it. I think it's a good vampire film. And I thought it was well shot and well edited, and I like the cast. And overall, I enjoyed the whole thing. Like I said, I think Christopher Plummer as Van Helsing is brilliant. Johnny Lee Miller, I thought was fine, except for that horrible accent that he was using. Um, and before we get comments down below, I know I'm making a joke. I know he's British. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I thought that it serves its purpose. I love the ending with the Jesus crucifix, how it falls over, and Dracula's talking to Jesus, and kind of reminded me of Omen 3 when Damien is talking to Jesus. He has like the big cross in the room, and he's putting his hands on the thorns, and he's bleeding and talking to Jesus, and kind of reminded me of that.
So
So
was Dracula Judas?
yes, I also like that. That's why, because remember the girl goes, well, why silver?
Right.
And I think it was John Lee Miller's like, I don't know. And then we find out, yeah, at the end through that flashback that he gives her, that it's the 6 pieces of silver.
Right. But like, okay, so Judas betrays Jesus,
Yeah.
and then he gets hung.
He hangs himself.
Okay.
So he
then
hangs himself.
how does he become Dracula?
I think because God would not allow him to get out of it. Like that was his punishment for betraying Jesus.
So he became, his punishment for betraying Jesus is becoming a vampire who sucks blood and then barely ever dies.
Yes.
Can barely ever die. I just thought, I mean, I get it. like I kind of like the spiritual, like this is why, like crosses, hurt him. Because there's at one point, doesn't like one of them make it? Am I'm mixing up movies now because I've seen too many of these movies. I think there's jokes about crosses in this, wasn't there, or something?
Well, yeah, John Lee Miller says that it's that Dracula hates everything that is Christian.
Right.
So, like when they're in the, but Dracula does make the joke, which a couple other Draculas have. Even Fright Night does it. With the cross, where it's just like, come on, really, seriously,
Yeah.
because Dracula says, I'm known by many names.
Mm-hmm.
And so technically he's probably not even a vampire. It's the vampire is the name that we've given to these things, but it's the curse that God has put on him. So he changes his name from Judas to Dracula, I guess. So I guess we're leaving all of the, maybe Val the Impaler is not in it anymore.
I don't know. I mean, was there a Vlad the Impaler who just happened to be kind of like Dracula? Like maybe.
Well,
people...
isn't that Bram Stoker's Dracula? Is that Dracula is the Impaler?
I don't think so. I don't think he's ever like fully said that. They never say.
Well, I mean, they have him at the beginning of the film, and he's impaling heads on spears.
In what Dracula?
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I don't remember that part, but I'm sure that's happened. It's been forever since I watched that movie too. I sort of always sort of got bored with it because it is a little longer of a movie for me to like kind of sit through and watch. Like it's based on the book. They did a great job.
Oh, it's not the book.
A little bit of the book. It's not as much of the
Dracula
book.
is not a love story. The book is not a love story.
Anyway,
the book of Dracula is a diary from Harker.
No, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a diary.
Kind of like how they did with the Jekyll, I think. Jekyll and Hyde sort of made it like,
Yeah, the strange case of is it's different.
There you go.
All these things are different. Frankenstein is different. Like there is no electricity in the Book of Frankenstein.
But you gotta do it. You gotta make it just that's sort of what the Hollywood kind of it became, or whatever.
Yeah, which is fine. So I guess you could make up your own Dracula.
Laura. You can make up your own Frankenstein. Yeah, you can make up your own whole world.
I mean, you're a Marvel guy. You're a comic book guy. I mean, Blade 3 has Dracula in it. That's the main villain is Dracula.
Marvel definitely goes with Dracula because like Dracula has it has a lot of stuff like so I'm excited to see Blade because I think they might show Dracula again, the new Blade, or at least have him come out for other, one of the other ones,
Well, and they had the comic book Tomb of Dracula.
Nice. All right. So I also want to mention, I really, really, really I'm a huge fan of Lachlan Monroe, and I've actually met him. And I'll tell you something real quick. He's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Who is he? Remind me.
He's the guy in this movie that was part of their gang, but he gets like impaled with the thing coming up and everything. He was one of the gang of robbers, and he's at the what is it? He's opening up the crypt, and when it does that, it sets the booby trap, and it gets his neck, and he's the one that gets like impelled to the neck. Do you remember that guy at all?
Talking about the thing coming from down on the ceiling?
I thought it went up, but I guess it went down. Yeah, it went down. It went down on him.
There were two things. There was the one that went down onto the coffin as the guy was leaning over the coffin.
Yep, that was him.
There was the one that swings down.
Yeah, it wasn't that guy.
And impales the guy.
Yeah. So it's the one that went down on the coffin.
Okay.
But he was in Dead Man on Campus. He's in he was or is in Riverdale. I don't know. I don't watch that show. But I watched like a few episodes. I need to try to actually, continue watching it at some point. But he's also in, I mean, Dead Man on Campus is my favorite, but he's in like Scary Movie, or I think was he in a Scream? I don't think he was. I know he's in a Scary Movie, or whatever. He's
I
a
have no
comedy
idea.
guy. He's a comedy guy, and I've always been a fan of his since Dead Man on Campus. Just a huge fan of that movie.
Never seen it.
So yeah, you got to check it out. It's so funny. It's funny. But he was in that, so I met him, and he's just a really nice guy. And now I can tell him if I see him again that I loved him in Dracula 2000, though not a huge part in it. It's kind of small. But he wasn't a huge name at that time.
Well, a lot of these people had smaller parts. Even like Danny Masterson's, and it's not huge.
Yeah, he dies pretty early on.
Yeah. And Jerry Ryan is like the first of the brides to go, I believe.
Yeah, but she was there for a little while, and that was good. I mean, I enjoyed her. She seemed to know what she was doing as a news reporter. She was talking about her tits, so what? She's the one who talked about it. I'm just repeating it.
What? Well, that makes it okay then. That makes it okay.
Yeah. I'm just repeating
it. Well, she knows that even in real life, she knows that. I mean, if you look at her as 7 of 9, they didn't get her because she was ugly. I mean, that's
right.
She was always known as the hot Borg,
What?
The hot Borg.
Okay. It's like Cyborg, but a hot Borg.
You don't know what the Borg is?
I don't. Dude, that's a Star Trek.
Man, you really don't know Star Trek, do you?
I don't, man. I don't watch any of
That's
these
like
things.
Star Trek's #1 villain is the Borg.
All right, I'm starting to get bored. All right, let's move on from it. Oh, bad jokes. All right, so moving on. But yeah, I liked Lachlan Monroe. I liked everybody in this cast. As I said, I didn't know the girl, and I still don't really I looked her up, and the main girl, the Mary, Van Helsing or whatever.
Yeah,
I just kind of felt like her character was sort of. I mean, I was sort of annoyed because she could see all of these dreams before anything, before even Dracula came out, So I'm like, has she been doing this since forever? I mean, this would be annoying if that's all she sees is dreams of her, dead and
maybe
relative?
Since he got released.
I don't know.
Maybe that's when they start, because
that was before.
She's well, that's what I'm just saying. Maybe because it's you would think Lucy, who's her roommate. If this was going on for years, I mean, it'd be like, I don't want to be your roommate anymore.
Sort of annoying, yeah.
Yeah, stop waking me up at 3 a.m. with your screaming and all. And she was, as far as acting goes, she was probably, I think, the worst actress. Yeah. She kind of reminded me of the lead in the new Scream, where it's like, okay, you're pretty to look at, but you're kind of a blank slate when it comes to acting.
I don't know.
When you compare them to the 3 behind you, I mean, she really
I'm
didn't
just
show. No,
I'm not disagreeing about her. I'm disagreeing about the blank slate girl. I don't think she was on Scream, but we've talked about that. I've discussed. I thought she did a great job, but I guess.
I mean, maybe compared to a 2x4, but yeah, I mean,
you're goddamn. I can't argue with you, man, because it's just like arguing. Some people think, oh man, this person's a great actor, and then somebody's like, wow, that guy's a piece of shit. You can't there's going to be somebody who's like, oh my god, But I really like.
But I'm not the only one who said that. I mean, I've watched many reviews on YouTube who say that,
and I don't get it. I don't get it.
A rock. So
I don't know. it's
I
just
mean, it's always funner to play these other roles, like the woman who plays, Lucy there. It's always, it's more enjoyable to play that type of thing than
the
the
person
daughter
has to
of
pretend to,
Doctor,
yeah.
yeah, of Van Helsing. I mean, it's kind of a boring role.
Well, I think toward the end of the movie, she really had fun, especially when she got to be the vampire, part.
I can't believe a Dracula who's been out there for centuries fell for her trick. Like, really, you fell for this? You're that really?
Yeah. It's like that. And on top of that, by the way, speaking of cast, Nathan Fillion, fucking a young Nathan Fillion in this movie. Do you even know who that is? No, you
No.
guess you don't. You've never seen Castle?
Oh, the TV show?
Yeah.
No, never. Not one episode.
You never seen Firefly?
I've never seen Firefly.
See? I'm
The show was canceled and they made one movie. Why would I watch it? There's like
why not? It's an amazing show. It shouldn't have been canceled.
I've heard it's great, but the show was canceled. Why would I want to watch something that was that doesn't really have an ending?
It does have an ending. It's got the movie. The movie ends it.
It just seems like a waste of time to me. Just why am I watch? There have been stuff that people told me. What didn't I watch? That there've been a couple shows that are now streaming and stuff where people are like, oh, you should watch it. It's great, but it just got canceled. Why? Why am I watching something that got canceled? It's different if you're watching it and then it gets canceled. Then it's just like, well, what the fuck? Why is this canceled all of a sudden? Like Glow, that show Glow, all got canceled for no reason.
Because Netflix sucks these days. Like Netflix is just wrong. They're like, oh, 3 seasons is enough. We're not going to let them know until whatever. But that's the problem.
They were already shooting the first 2 episodes of Glow when they got canceled.
Really?
Yeah, they were out here in Vegas shooting.
Wow.
Well, they were out here and then COVID hit. So they were already filming. And then that's when Netflix, they got shut down. And that's when Netflix said, we're not going to continue. But that's one thing. I've heard Firefly is good. I should watch it. I've heard very good things about it. Even though I've heard that its creator, Josh Whedon, is a horrible person. Yeah, it is not a good person. But I'll,
we kind of always let that slide, me and Paul, especially because we are Buffy fans, and Joss Whedon created Buffy and whatnot, and so it's kind of hard. Like Joss Whedon was just a dick, but here's the thing, you don't hear about like as much about a lot of other directors who are dicks, who get away with it all the time.
But are these guys really dicks? I mean, are they really? Or did you just not get what you want?
So here's what he's used to doing. He's used to going up and treating a lot of the cast members like they're pieces of shit, especially the women. And that's not good when you're trying to create a strong female, thing, like.
Well, I mean, and I'm not saying that he didn't do that or whatever, but I'm so tired of, and I just fell into it. I would say in this episode, I have fallen into that category. I don't know if Josh Whedon did that. I don't know if he's a dick. I've never met him. Mm-hmm. We only hear things about that. Sometimes it is from somebody who just didn't get what they wanted, like a raise or whatever it is. We don't know until, I mean, look at James Cameron. I mean, he's known as a total asshole and womanizer. And the guy keeps making movies that break all records. They win Academy Awards, and you get people working with him all the time that come back. So it's like, okay, well, why haven't we canceled James Cameron then?
Yeah, we probably never will.
No, because some of this stuff isn't true. It's not real. It's people not just getting what they want.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously when you have a whole bunch of people talking about Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby, that's a different thing. You really need to investigate that. And if it's true,
I think there was a lot of people a lot of actors that finally come out and said that, so here's something. James Marster, the guy who played Spike in Buffy, said that Joss was really upset that Spike became like a big standout character, and that the studio kept pushing more Spike, more Spike. We need Spike, right? And he didn't like Spike. He never liked the character of Spike. He just wrote it as a one-off, like it was supposed to be for one episode, and that's it, you know. And then Joss got really upset, slammed James Marsters up against the wall, and said, "You are never going to be a big star. Mark my words," and like walked out. Something like that. Like you can listen to it all on James's show, but like, or James's podcast that he did on Michael Rosenbaum's show, but he like literally told him that like, and he said he didn't blame Joss whatsoever because he understands that kind of thing, but like that's not acceptable in the workplace, you know?
Well, no, and the rumors of him might be true. So
Right.
I mean, it's you hear about this stuff all the time.
I
So
look at, I've only looked it up a lot because of my love for Buffy, and whatnot. And I actually really like Joss. I think Joss was really good for Marvel at one point, but he ain't working for Marvel anytime soon unless somehow he's kind of mended his ways, or whatever. And the public starts to be okay with it. But like, remember there were things getting James Gunn fired off of stuff because of
from a tweet from 10 years ago.
Yeah, where he wasn't even like super famous then, I think it was even 20 years ago, it felt like. But because it was like when Twitter was starting, basically.
Well, and that type of thing gets revenge. It is then, he then says, James Gunn is just like, okay, fine, then I'll go make the Suicide Squad, which was huge. And then Marvel's like, oh crap, okay, we need to get him back for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We're sorry. And it's the same thing with Johnny Depp. Is now, from what I've read, and of course this take it with a grain of salt type of thing, but is that Disney is now trying to get Johnny Depp back for Pirates. And Depp is going, nope. And Tim Burton's already put him in Beetlejuice, and and all these people that
really.
Yeah, I don't think he is Beetlejuice.
Well, I don't think he's Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton better fucking come back as Beetlejuice.
Michael Keaton said that he would do it, but who knows? But I mean, I don't know. It's difficult.
But
Should
that
we
just
get back
makes
on
me
track again?
Hold on, real quick. I just gotta say, fucking Johnny Depp and Beetlejuice just made my heart go woo. That's like that made me happy. All right. Anyway, yes, let's get back on track. The point
and I'll lastly say to this is that Tim Burton is definitely one of those guys who sticks by his friends, because look what he did with Paul Rubens.
Right.
So, he always stuck by Paul Rubens and then put him in, Batman Returns and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then Paul Rubens was in Buffy. Ha! The real movie, the real movie
of Buffy.
Yeah.
Josh Whedon.
So yeah. So anyway, we're completely off track. But but that's how our shows usually go. So
yes,
this is not new if anybody's been watching the show. I honestly, I enjoyed this movie. I do agree with you. More blood, more action, especially action. Like I feel like the biggest problem with this movie for me was there wasn't enough action in it. Now I know it's not an action, movie, but like it should have more stuff like that. In my opinion, it should have more.
There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of I mean, I guess they have to explain everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's in, I guess, every vampire thing is go back to the Hammer movies or whatever it is Van Helsing or some priest has to, for 10 minutes, explain what a vampire is to the locals and how to kill it and all of that stuff. So
we see that in almost every because every vampire movie is different, and they're thankfully so, right? I did like a few like references to different things. Like, did you notice when he said, I don't drink coffee? That was actually a throwback to Bela Lugosi's "I Never Drink Wine," you know.
Yeah, I thought
So
that was funny.
yeah, it was cute because see cute. I had to use cute once in this
Cute. It is
thing.
cute.
But it is adorable. I love it. I love seeing stuff
Well, now
like that.
what about blood coffee? Could he drink blood coffee, like a combination of coffee and blood? You know how people put cream in their coffee? Maybe he could put blood in his coffee and
I
drink
don't
blood
see why
coffee.
he can't. I don't see why he can't drink coffee. Period.
I guess vampires can only drink blood,
Mm, is
right?
that
Because
why
they,
he doesn't drink wine because it's not actual blood?
yeah,
I really like it because like I've been watching like the Lost Boys movies and stuff, and like they have like they say it's wine, but it's really like the dude's blood, you know, and stuff. So it's only wine, Michael. You know, go drink the wine, and it's like, and they use that in part 2 as well. I don't know if it's in part 3. I haven't seen that yet, but it just makes me laugh because like vampires and wine and vampires now coffee, you know, like it was just an updated version of like, you know, the girl didn't say, you know, would you like some wine, you know, which she could have because, you know,
they should have had like a Pepsi sponsor the movie, and then she could come up to him with like a Coke bottle, and he goes, "I don't drink Coke."
it's kind
And
of
then
funny.
like behind him is like a giant Pepsi machine.
Well, no, because we already got enough of that with the Virgin Megastore, which if you,
Man, how much money did Branson get from that? I
I
mean,
don't
that's
know.
wow.
That was
I
crazy.
I did like that Dracula looked up and saw the word virgin and then went inside.
It's like Virgin. Hmm.
Yeah,
Every woman is like staring at Gerard Butler, you
that was
know.
funny.
They're just like, you know, and
He's
I
a
was
good
like,
looking guy.
I
So
agree,
I
I
never
agree.
doubted it.
You
And I
know, yeah.
liked that his overcoat was like his cape. Every once in a while, he would flip it around like it's a cape.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was original because you normally, Dracula's got a cape. And now in
Yeah,
this case, he's using that his overcoat as a cape.
yeah,
So
it's
I thought
cute.
that was kind of cool.
Good, I
It's
liked it.
cute.
It
It's
is
cute.
cute.
It's fashionable.
It is, and yeah, God damn, he didn't like Gerard Butler, man. I haven't seen the next one, so I don't know much about the other Draculas, but man, he is one of my favorite Draculas to right now, you know, like he was good, you know, like
I enjoyed him. Like I said, I forgot that it was him. I might have at the time when I saw it went like, oh, pretty boy. Let's get a pretty boy to do it. Why can't he be more rugged? Why couldn't we get a Christopher Lee type, vampire?
Christopher Lee. That's who I was thinking of when you say Christopher Plummer. I think Christopher Lee, and he was in a bunch of Hammer movies. Yeah, so he was the
Oh,
Dracula.
yeah, like 100 of them.
I
Yeah.
know. Like for some reason, Christopher Lee and Christopher Plummer, even though they are not the same person at all, but
They are not, but they are both great actors. So
they are fantastic, both of them. But I was just for some reason I was thinking of Christopher Plummer, really? Like, okay, no. Christopher Lee, who was
I mean,
also in the Star Wars movies.
yes, and so was Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
So that was not an accident either. That Lee was in Star Wars because it was supposed to be in the original Star Wars. Hurry off, going on a tangent. On a whole totally different thing is in the original Star Wars. It was supposed to be David Prowse as Darth Vader. Of course, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. And it was 20th Century Fox that said, we're not making a Hammer movie. You can't have all of them in it.
What? Like they said that for real? Like they knew what they knew
it was
what
like
he was
Alan
doing?
Ladd. Yeah, I think it was Alan Ladd who said, we're not making a Hammer movie.
Oh,
And so he dropped Christopher Lee, but never forgot about him, and then brought him back for the prequels.
yeah.
So I thought that was awesome. So Lee was very intentional that George Lucas wanted him, in those films.
But they could have had him in the Empire Strikes Back as something, or whatever. I guess they didn't have a good role for him. Could have been the Emperor,
Ooh, that would have been good.
Yeah. I mean, I like the guy who played Ian McDermott who took over or whatever for the Emperor, but I would have I would have loved Christopher Lee as the Emperor too. You know,
Yeah, that would have been interesting. And then they
sadly, he
did.
wouldn't be here today. I think he's passed on, so he wouldn't be.
Oh yeah, he died a few years ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of
and
his last films was Tim Burton, actually.
there you go. All connects. You
All
know,
connects to Tim Burton. So that's
that's
but
what we should learn.
it's yeah, this was good. I would have liked to maybe have had, I don't know, maybe because of Scream, and at the time maybe not have so many Easter eggy type things in there for Dracula. Maybe just a few, like the coffee was nice, and yeah, maybe it was a good balance. Maybe this film was a good balance of that time period and horror.
I didn't. Yeah, it was like that time period. It was an updated version of Dracula, which is probably what they were really trying to do, which probably pissed Universal off a little bit because Universal's always been trying to make the big monster movies come back in somewhere.
Well, in the original book, Lucy worked at Tower Records, not Virgin.
What? You're very confusing. But for like a while, I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like original book of Dracula 2000, maybe the adaptation.
Well, hey, and you even brought it to me, Dracula 3000, which I do own.
Dracula 3000, which had nothing to do with Dracula 2000, apparently.
No, but it actually is closer to the book than Dracula 2000 is,
even though it's in space.
Yes. But but they just call everything what it is. Like he goes in the book, it's the Carpathian Seas, and in Dracula 3000, it's the Carpathian space, or whatever they call it, the galaxy or whatever it is. So they just change it from sea to galaxy, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I mean, you got to do something, right, to kind of make it a little bit different.
Dracula in space, why not?
I mean, does it go to the hood next? Dracula in the Hood?
Well, we did have Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
Wes Craven.
I know. We're not doing that one.
I don't want to sit through that one either. I really don't want to see Eddie Murphy with a mullet.
Dracula Dead and Loving It. I haven't seen it in forever, but I remember when I was a kid loving it. I don't know if the jokes would hold up.
I think the younger generation has no idea what true Mel Brooks is. So everything from Spaceballs on, to me, is pretty much garbage.
Including Spaceballs?
Yeah.
Oh, you were terrible.
Everything from History of the World Part 1 back is hilarious.
Spaceballs is like my favorite, so screw that.
Sorry. It's Mel Brooks got into that thing where instead of spoofing an entire genre like Blazing Saddles did, he spoofed one movie.
Right.
And he kept doing it over and over again.
He spoofed others. He spoofed
he put other things in
Apes, it. Yeah.
But Spaceballs is just a spoof of Star Wars. It's not a spoof of science fiction movies. It's a spoof of Star Wars.
That's true.
Robin Hood Men in Tights is a spoof of Robin Hood, not adventure movies like Robin Hood. But Dracula Dead and Loving It is just a spoof on Dracula, the original Dracula, not the genre of Dracula.
But you look at movies like Silent Movie, and I really hated that movie. Like, I hated it. I
saw that in the theater, and that's another one of his that would never be made today because of certain words that are used in it. But if you look at something like Young Frankenstein, you can watch every Universal Dracula Frankenstein movie all the way, then watch Young Frankenstein, and it fits right in there.
But it is just a spoof of one movie. It's a spoof of Frankenstein.
It's a spoof off of the entire Frankenstein, like if you want to call it a series or genre and that type of thing. Where Dracula Dead and Loving It is a spoof on Dracula, not the genre. Not the whole thing of Dracula.
All right, we're probably not going to agree on this. That's all good,
I have stuck with this for decades. That young people who like Mel Brooks with Spaceballs on have no idea what they're talking about. They just don't. They don't.
Also, I think it really depends on when you grew up. Like I grew up on watching Spaceballs on my Betamax almost every day.
I would say Spaceballs would be the last one that was okay before he really dipped.
Right.
You
No,
know,
I agree with
but
that.
compare Blazing Saddles to Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Mm.
One is great and one is not.
Men in Tights, once again, it has things I really, really love. Like there are some really funny jokes in that movie. Overall, is it as good as Blazing Saddles? Fuck no. Like, but it's not supposed to be. It's sort of
It should
like
be.
it
It's made by the
should.
same guy. It should be just as funny.
It's also when he started getting a little older, and he was
Maybe
kind
he
of
should
getting
have
out of
stopped.
touch. Maybe, but like I said, I like Spaceballs, so I can't.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I mean that movie is so quotable. So whatever. Anyway, but also once again, maybe goes back to my Star Wars things. I love Star Wars, all of it. So whatever.
and I would say that anybody that is a fan of Star Wars, starting with Disney, is wrong. Dead wrong.
Starting
Absolutely.
with Disney,
Yeah.
like somebody actually just likes the Disney stuff. That's it.
No, they're dead wrong. The Disney stuff is horrible. Starting with Disney, it's horrible.
Yeah,
The original films, even the prequels, were 1,000 times better than anything that Disney has produced, except for maybe the cartoons, except for maybe Rebels or Clone Wars.
Mandalorian is great, so I don't want to hear this. Anyway, well, let's.
Mandalorian was meant to be Boba Fett, and they changed it to the Mandalorian, and now they're doing Boba Fett, and Boba Fett is fat, and it's not doing very well.
Let's not.
I've
let's get off this. We've gotten on to another thing, and it's just driving me crazy. We're gonna have to save it for another podcast. So
that would be a podcast of just you and I disagreeing.
It's Siskel and Ebert, man. I've always wanted to have like that.
Are you saying I'm Ebert? Are you saying that I'm fat? Is that what you're saying?
I think you're more like Siskel, because I always agreed with Ebert.
Oh, okay. Well, you can be the fat guy and I'll be the thin guy.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't care. I've been gaining some weight. I don't know. But anyway, was it? I don't know what. I don't think Siskel and Ebert ever reviewed this movie, because I think Siskel had passed away in '99. I want to say, and that was like the year before this movie is out. So that kind of sucks, especially since those guys were good. They probably would have both gave this movie a thumbs down though, because they're pretty harsh.
I have a love-hate relationship with them. I mean, I even have the documentary about Ebert.
Yeah, Life Itself. I got that too.
Yeah, and I still have a love-hate relationship with him. So
yeah,
I met him at Sundance, and he seemed like a nice guy, but I don't agree. I think that he is wrong most of the time. So I don't like how he
see that's
approaches things.
That's why. I mean, the only thing I always disagree with him about is the horror, and he really does not like horror, even though he wrote.
No, and I don't like
Meyer,
that. I mean, he called out Betsy Palmer for Friday the 13th. He
gave her address, right?
Yeah, like address or phone number. He gave the makers of Silent Night, Deadly Night. He gave out their information. Well, both Siskel and Ebert gave out their information because they didn't like the movie. And that's not their job. They're not the movie police. They're just film critics.
Well, even then, it's not their job to give out information about Betsy Palmer when she's just an actor. She's just hired to say the words. It's not, she didn't make the movie, or whatever. So, I mean, can't blame her. I mean, she did, honestly, she did a fantastic job as Jason's mother. So, whatever.
Yeah, and Ebert was the one, and this was even brought up on some talk show with him, is that he says that the music for The Graduate, which is my all-time favorite movie, which is by Simon and Garfunkel, was wrong. He said that the music was horrible in the movie. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's one of the best things about the movie. It's edited to the songs. They knew what songs they were using while editing the movie.
Right.
So it's like, it wasn't just thrown in as an afterthought because they were popular. So, yeah, I don't know. Once again, we're completely.
I've been trying to get off this, but it's been hard. So to go back to Dracula 2000, the movie that we're talking about here. I don't know. I do you think the marketing? I think the marketing did a good job. I love the posters, even though it's just a bunch of heads, like generally or whatever, and stuff. But I still thought it had a very like that was the time period as a floating heads and this time they show off the girls' bodies a little bit, in the shot.
I think it didn't do well at that time because I think it was just overkill on everything like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I think people were tired of the posters. They all kind of look like Scream, and I think people maybe even at that time were tired of Wes Craven. So Wes Craven Presents might have hurt it. Maybe they just weren't into Dracula at the time. I mean, Cursed didn't make any money. And that's that's werewolves, but it's still that type of thing. So maybe just people just weren't into it at that time.
Yeah, I think it's also because we've talked about this a lot, but there's like so many movies. We just did Valentine. There's so many movies that sort of have this hip kind of cool, look and feel to them that Wes Craven brought, like that was what he created, when he did Scream. He made like it hip to watch slashers again, and Harvey Weinstein and company were probably thinking, you know what, we want to do for vampires what Wes Craven did for Scream, for slashers, and
Sure.
that's what they tried to do that, but I don't know why it didn't do very well, box office wise. I wonder if there's anything about that, in like Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, I mean, it really tanked. Like it couldn't even make its budget back, which is bad.
Yeah.
And you want to always make at least 2 times your budget back.
Let's see. Reception. Yeah. Okay. Listen to this. The film received generally negative reviews from critics. Rotten Tomatoes reports a rating of 17%. Yikes. Based on 69 reviews. 69. With an average score of 3.59 out of 10. This site's consensus states the retelling tries to offer a different spin on the origin of Dracula. Unfortunately, there's nothing here audiences haven't seen before. I don't know.
It's yes and no. It's kind of taking the best bits of some of the films and putting them together. But I think it is its own original thing. Because remember, most of the time with these movies, if it was Dracula, the Mummy, whatever it was, the woman that Dracula has the fixation for in the present is always like his wife in the past. And of course,
Right.
They always look identical because it's the same actress.
Right.
So this, at least, they did something different where it's possibly like she's a relative. And that's why he's going after her, is that she's got his blood. So at least she's not, because that was the whole thing with Bram Stoker's Dracula, is that, Gary Oldman's Dracula was dating or married to Winona Ryder's, character.
Well, also the whole Judas thing was different. So I mean,
that's different.
They had some different shit. It's not everything we've seen before. Anyway, on Metacritic, this film has a 26 out of 100 rating based on 14 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Burge Garabedian of Joe Blow. Does anybody even look at that anymore?
I do. I watch it all the time.
I don't. Offered a positive review, calling it a fun vampire movie, a novel adaptation of an old-time legend, and good to some, or good for pretty much anyone looking for an enjoyable bloody fun. Beyond Hollywood.com wrote, Dracula 2000 is not the worst vampire movie I've seen, but it's definitely not the best either. There are some very good moments, most of them featuring the frail Van Helsing as he attempts to battle the fast and deadly vampires. Also, I appreciated the background given to Dracula's aversion to silver, crosses, and God, as well as Dracula's true origins. Not bad, but could have been much better. I'll agree with that. Owen Lieberman of Entertainment Weekly has a C minus score, while James Berardinelli of Real Views panned the film writing, or of all the indignities to have been visited upon Dracula during the past century, including being the inspiration for a serial and a Sesame Street character, and being lampooned by Mel Brooks. None is more unsettling than what has happened to the world's most famous vampire in Dracula 2000. Ouch.
Well, when hearing some of those, when you think about it, it's maybe what they're saying by we've seen this before is, it's Dracula on the ship. We got the brides. We got all that stuff. As we've seen all that before. We've seen Van Helsing. We've seen the assistant. We've seen him go after, Dracula go after the woman. When you look at something like, let's say, Near Dark, that was never done before. That was totally new. Or even Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who even thought of like teenage motorcycle driving, vampires? It was totally original.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe if you want more of those types of films, then you have seen all this before. It's not very original.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I mean, I still enjoyed it. I mean, if somebody said, "Hey, do you want to watch Dracula 2000?" I don't
really
think I would say
it.
no.
I enjoyed it. Like, I had a fun time. Like I said, I had a fun time looking at the cast that was in this movie, and everybody did a great job. I mean, I didn't even mind the Mary chick, because I thought she was just, she wasn't in it the whole time, which I think if she were in it,
Yeah.
no, I think if she were in it the whole time, like all, like I feel like Johnny Lee Miller was in it more than she was, and I adored him in the movie. But if it had been swapped where she was in it more than he was, I would have been annoyed. By the way, I want to get back to the fact that I talked about Nathan Fillion, and then we got on the whole Joss Whedon kick and stuff. He was in Firefly and Serenity, and he was the pastor guy. Now, that was the only thing I sort of didn't really dig, was I love seeing him, because I was like, oh my God, it's fucking Mal from freaking Firefly. That's awesome, but when I watched it, I go, why did she go like straight to the church, and stuff like, and I don't know anything about Catholic movies and stuff, or Catholic. I mean, I don't know anything about Catholicism at all. But if I were a Catholic and I went to my Catholic church, could I just get a confession? Could I just be like, hello, somebody here? Can somebody just give me a confession? Or do you have to don't you have to probably sign in and probably have an appointment?
I guess if the priest is there, no. If they're not busy, you could do it, sure.
So at midnight or whatever at night, like this was, she was there.
Well, churches do close.
Right. So why was she able to just go in there and do it in the middle of the night? Like, that didn't, but she's not the only one. It's not the only movie. I see this all the freaking time. I see this on fucking Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I'm like, wait a minute, they're going in at like basically 10 p.m. to do.
Well, the priest has to sleep at some point. I mean, that's why they kick people out of the church. You see somebody homeless come in there and try to sleep on one of those seats, and the priest is like, dude, we're closed. Sorry, you got to go outside.
No.
Because they got to prepare for the next day and get all that stuff ready, just like any job, and then they got to go to bed.
So I'm like, my big question about this is, why is this happening?
I will say what I've always said, because the script dictates that it happens. They needed her to go to the church.
So annoying. I hate it.
And so that's what she did.
It's so annoying. Stop, Hollywood, stop doing that. Just start making other reasons up. Maybe he did say, I guess they did say they were friends or something, known each other, I think, or something, did they? If I'm correct. Once again, am I mixing another movie up with this? But
I
I
don't
thought,
remember them talking about
okay,
friendship.
okay. Well, see, there you go. Like, make it where they're friends. Like, oh, we've known each other for so long. Thank you for calling me up, and like, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, making it a good reason for it to be like that, because I don't buy the fact that people can just go up at 10 o'clock at night or so, like late at night, and be like, yo, priest, I need a confession. Let's get this thing going. And she didn't
Yeah,
say that, but I'm just
no,
saying.
I know. Probably during the day that would mostly,
Right.
but remember at night in Hellraiser 3, Pinhead went in, and there was the priest and our lead actress was in there, and that's when he did the whole Jesus thing, and all the fire was coming up,
Yep.
and
But what I'm saying is, like, I just, a lot of times I don't buy that anymore. Like, I'm done. So, but
well, there's a lot of that stuff that isn't correct. That's why they now have these like YouTube channels where it's like professional lawyer analyzes legal eagles,
yeah, I like
or
that.
professional, that type of thing, that they, professional diver, reviews the deep, some,
We're gonna
because they know that none of this stuff is real. It's fake.
we were gonna get my Paul's former roommate, who was a NASA intern, you know, to actually debunk science fiction movies, that used terrible science, stuff. However, we didn't do that. We should have done it while we had the chance, but we thought about it too late, and she moved back to her house, her family house. She had left NASA, but hopefully she'll be back, you know, and
Give it a shot.
yeah, if we do it, they'll have another podcast for you guys. But that's a fun idea, because, like me, I would be like, if there's a a religious show on YouTube, they'll debunk, this movie. Like, would the priest really, or the, I guess, priest really be there at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night or whenever, in the middle of the night? Maybe,
I
maybe
mean, they
not.
they do live there, so, but I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, and if they hear the front door close, they may come out. But yeah, I mean, at some point the church closes, and at some point they have to go to bed.
Right.
So, you've even had some movies where priests have complained about that type of stuff. Where somebody will come in and say, "I need a blessing. I need a blessing." And the guy's like, "Dude," he's like, "Get a robe." He's like, "I'm sleeping. What do you want?"
Yeah. Well, let's see there. That would be a good explanation of stuff, right? She comes in 9 o'clock at night, and the guy's like, "Dude, I'm trying to go to sleep, but all right, what's going on? How are you doing?" Like, that would actually add some humor to the scene too. But
Unless certain churches have shifts, so you have one priest from like 8 to 5, and like another one from like 3 to 2.
I don't know. I don't know enough about, like, Catholicism. I was not raised Catholic, and I did not, and sort of, thank God, no offense.
Well, that I mean, that's why people call their priest, is because the church closes.
Right.
So that's, yeah. So the what she did probably would not happen. No.
Okay. Anyway, moving on from that. But seeing
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion as the priest was awesome. I really enjoyed him. I kind of wish there was a little bit more of that, because, like, it was such a small little scene that sort of, I mean, I don't even know if it was really necessary or not, but I guess it kind of tied things together a little bit. I don't remember.
Didn't bother me.
Yeah. So,
I'm still not sure who you're talking about, so I can't picture the actor at all. So, but
you remember that scene where she went to the.
I do, but I can't picture the actor.
Oh,
I mean, I really have no idea what he looks like in my head. I cannot picture it.
that's okay. You don't have to, because you don't really. I don't think you, unless you've seen any of the Castle or any of those things. What was the other one? He was in Dr. Horrible's
Nope, never saw it.
No, yeah, that show.
I know of it, but I never saw it.
Yeah, so he was in that. He was in a bunch of things. He's in I know he's in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or something too, because he's friends with James Gunn. He works with James Gunn a lot too. So all those guys all know each other, man. They all work together.
Be like me talking about Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, and Christopher
Exactly.
Plummer. You would have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have no idea. No. And it's same as you don't have any idea about my stuff, or whatever, and that's completely fine with me. But at least we have a love-hate relationship for Siskel and Ebert. So
there you go. Yes.
Well, we're about to wrap up. Is there anything we didn't touch upon? I think we touched upon everything that we needed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun film. I mean, it's overall a good movie, and it's entertaining, and it's very popcorn like, and yeah, I mean, I would recommend it. I would watch it, again, if somebody wanted to. Sure.
Rating time out of 5 stars. What would you give this?
I would give it 4.
I was thinking that too, because I was in between 4 and 3.5,
Me too.
and stuff, but I was gonna go lean toward 4, because I would definitely recommend this, and I would definitely watch it.
It's well made, it's well constructed, it has a beginning, middle, and end. It's well shot, the effects are fine, it's got a lot of people in it, and yeah, I think that a 4 is good.
Maybe Scream Factor will do like a reboot of it, or well, not reboot, but like a remastering Blu-ray of it or whatever, so, and because they did that for Cursed, right? They were the ones who did Cursed, if I'm correct.
Yes, but that was through, I think, Dimension, and this is Echo Bridge. I have talked to my friend about that type of stuff, and they that one of the problems is like Echo Bridge, and then there's that other company that does the same thing as Echo Bridge, and they can't get the rights because they own them all.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks, because Echo Bridge doesn't do shit. They don't fix up their Blu-rays. I'm talking to you, Stephen Paul, owner of fucking Echo Bridge. Gotta spruce up your Blu-rays, man, because he just does bare bones Blu-rays, and they're kind of boring,
Well, they do, but I mean, I'm glad to have 4 movies on one Blu-ray. So,
well, no,
and
I'm
it
okay.
looks perfectly fine,
Right, but I would like to have like special features or something, something extra, not just for 3 movies. I had the DVD, so I had 3 movies. I had all 3 of the Dracula movies, and I don't know. What was the last one you had? Like, you had 3 of the 3 Dracula movies, and then what?
That's
so strange. Why?
It's
why?
just Wes Craven presents They.
There you go. It's Wes Craven presents. Okay, I get it. I was gonna say, why is They?
Yeah, it's another one of those, and it got, I guess, heavily edited by the studio. So when it came out in the theater, it bombed. I saw it in the theater when it came out, and yeah, it was very confusing, and it didn't make any sense, and it made no money. And then I wanted the Dracula films, and then when I saw that They was on there, at first I'm just like, fuck, I don't want They. I just want the 3 Dracula movies. But now I'm happy to have They. So
why not, right?
Yeah, I'll take 4. I'm not greedy.
Actually, that is kind of greedy.
Jerk.
I know. You just said you weren't greedy. Liar. We caught you in a lie there, buddy.
Are you quoting the new Firestarter? Liar, liar, pants on fire.
No, I haven't even seen the new one.
Oh, thank God. It was horrible.
I've heard terrible things. I mean,
it's bad.
It's really funny because Paramount Plus had both Firestarters, and I was very tempted to watch the old one again because it's better, from what I've heard. But I don't know.
The old one's a classic with Drew Barrymore. It's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Some horrible miscasting in it, some very whitewashing in it, but with what they do with Rayburn, how they have George C. Scott playing a Native American, but
oh no.
And then in Firestarter 2, Malcolm McDowell played Rayburn the Indian, the Native American. So, which to me is even worse because that's an English guy playing a Native American.
It's like, let's just get a regular American guy, and then let's get an English guy. Next, we're gonna get an African guy to play Native American.
For the new one, they did it correctly. They did get a Native American. So,
oh, that's good. Well,
yeah.
that's one good thing. But you know why? Because now everything's so woke and so, like everything has to be so politically
it's what I
correct.
would have been. I mean, I would have done that if the book says he's Native American. I would have hired a Native American. That's because they did change things from the book, and even from the movies for the new movie. So
I'm surprised
which I hated.
Stephen King owns the rights to all those now. Like I think from everything he's ever. So he's usually more like stick to the book.
No. I think he's kind of big on the changing now because he enjoyed Pet Sematary, and one of the reviews for The Stand says that he loves this version of The Stand.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's into kind of changing these things, because you still have his original books and the original movies and miniseries. So interesting. Once again, we got off topic. It has nothing to do with Dracula 2000.
I forgot what we were talking about. What?
Except Stephen King did write a vampire novel. So maybe that's...
Well, I forgot what we were talking about until I look at my picture and see those three hot girls behind me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we're talking about Dracula 2000. But once again, this was a lot of fun. Vitamin C, I hope she continued her career. I don't know offhand what else she's been in, but I do know she did. She was in a conference scene in Liar Liar, and when I saw that, I laughed. Because like I remember that scene. So I think I remember her in it, but I'm not sure. So there you go. But thank you, John, for joining me for the show.
Of course.
Join us next week, where we'll be doing another Mainstream Monday with Dracula 2. It didn't go Dracula 2001 or 2 or 3. From Dracula 2, which confuses.
But it does have a subtitle. What is its subtitle? Dracula 2.
The Ascension.
There you go.
Which I'm like, okay. So it's Dracula 2, The Ascension. And then the third one's Dracula 3, The Legacy, which everybody hates. So I'm excited. I've not seen either of those at all.
I have not seen them for a very, very long time. So,
well, there you go. We'll get to watch them and see what we think. So, everybody, thank you guys for checking this out. And join us next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.